In this video, I have prepared 21 questions that you can use when you find your next investment property as your due diligence. If you want to know that, then stay tuned. Hello everyone, if you're new here, my name is Abbas Pardhan. I'm a property investor and I'm an owner of an estate agency called 10x Rising. On this channel, I share with you the insight of what we go through, what we see on a day-to-day basis that may help you on your property journey. So if you enjoyed the content, please smash the like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you do not miss the next videos. Right, so I've been looking around. I found a property that fits my budget. It's in an area that I seem is quite good, decent, and I think there might be some good property capital appreciation. So I want to schedule in a viewing. I meet the seller or the broker and I have a couple of questions prepared or the things that I want to look around in the area before I move on. The first thing I want to ask the seller is that why are you selling this property? Because that answer is also somewhat linked to what is the most important thing to them other than price. Because let's say he says that I've got to move out of the country because say my family member is not feeling well, or I've got a job elsewhere, or I just inherited this property and I just want to get rid of it. Whatever answer they give you is going to give you an idea of what's really important to them. Because what if speed is important to them and not price? What if you have £300,000 in your account that you can buy with cash rather than depending on mortgage, and you can complete within 2 weeks or say 5 days with all indemnity insurances? You can do that and you're not going to use a mortgage and price is not really affected to that person. Then guess what? You can get yourself a very good discount. Yes. So the first thing you want to ask the guys is that why are you selling? What's the most important thing to you other than price? Second thing I want to know, if it's the agent involved, is that how long has the property been on market? It's going to give you an idea about whether the price is right. Have people been looking at this property or not? Has this just come to the market now? It's just going to give you an idea on where to go in with your offer. The third thing you want to ask is the property freehold or is it leasehold? I personally stay away from leasehold properties. We don't like to get involved in the service charge situation because we manage a flat in the city center, and during COVID, the elevator broke down. We were literally chasing the freeholder, the management company involved, for over 10 months just to get this sorted. Just to get the elevator sorted. So the tenant used to keep going up and down the staircase. It was horrible. It was so difficult for the tenant, and of course they left once their tenancy ended, and then we had to find another one because this guy was so furiated. So we don't like to get involved in that. We don't like giving that control away to someone else, that we have to depend on them to get it sorted, as well as the fact that when you're paying the service charges, your yields will always drop most likely. So we like freeholds, but it's quite important that when you do go see a property, you want to know, am I buying a freehold or am I buying a leasehold? If it is a leasehold, how many years are still remaining on the lease? Because you don't know what's going to happen after the lease ends. The fourth thing I want to know is how old is this building? Is it a building built in 1900s, 1870s, 1910s? Or is it a building built in 2017? Because I also want to understand that am I getting the yields for what the property is worth? Ask yourself a question. Would you rather get 10% cash on cash on a property built in 1850, or would you rather get 8%, 2% less, for a property built in 2022? Which one would you go for? I know which one I would go for. Put down in the comment section below which one it is you would go for. The fifth thing I want to know is that where is the nearest supermarket? How far do I have to walk? If at night I'm craving something, how far do I have to drive to get to that supermarket or the convenience store to get what I want? Do I have to drive for 20 minutes or do I have to walk for about 3 minutes? These things quite make a difference, especially if it is for a rental property. You will get higher rents if you're very close. Convenience will always beat common sense. You don't want to be too far off. So always know when you're looking at a property how far the amenities are. Where's the nearest supermarket? Where's the nearest transportation link? How far is the train station from yourself? Understand that kind of thing. The other thing you also want to know is that does this property have an allocated parking? And if it does not, where is the person or the tenant or the home buyer? Where are they going to park? Are they going to be parking off street, on street? What's the situation like? Permit required? all these kind of things. That's something you need to factor in. You also want to look at what the broadband speed is like on that area. Are suppliers, these providers like Virgin Media, Sky even providing in that kind of area? Because you would be literally surprised. We have a HMO on such a prime location in Birmingham, Alcester Road, but guess what? Virgin Media does not supply there. So we've had to compensate, sacrifice for another provider because it is a HMO property. But tenants love fast internet. Unfortunately, we couldn't get them the fastest internet with Virgin on there. We still could get them something, but it's something just for you to be aware of, you know. It's not something that maybe you will decide not to buy the property just because of that reason, but at least something you're aware of, that hey, if 10 things are popping up like this, then perhaps it's not a very good buy to let property or HMO. So you want to know the phone signal, whether there's Virgin Media, whether there's a Wi-Fi provider going in there, there's good signal there. These are kind of things you want to know. You also want to know, are there HMOs in the area? I would ask the buyer, or I would ask the seller, are there many HMOs in the street? It's going to give you an indication whether what kind of street it is, what kind of people live here. If you're buying a property perhaps for yourself to live in, do you want to be around lots of HMOs? Do you? I know I wouldn't, perhaps not. I also want to ask the seller or the agent, what is this area like at night or in the evening? Is it quite safe? Is it not? I want to drive there at the property in the morning, in the afternoons, in the evenings, at night. I want to understand the location, and I do that. I drive there in the mornings, I spend some time there, look at what kind of people are walking around, what kind of cars are passing by. I drive there at night, spend some time there as well, look at what's happening. What's the environment like? Study that, because that will be your property and it will determine what kind of tenants will live in that property. It all depends on that neighborhood. If there's an agent there, I would also ask the agent, hey agent, is this property listed with multiple agents? And is there been much interest on this property? The reason I want to know this is because it's going to be my story of how I'm going to negotiate with the seller. Because I want to make a good deal for myself. So I'm going to use all this data that I collect in making an offer that I can justify. You can't just go to the seller and say, hey, you want to sell it for 300,000. Hey, I'm going to pay you 150. Come on, man. He's going to think that you're just taking a piss or you're just trying to annoy the person or be very disrespectful, which I'm sure you're not trying to be. So when you go in with an offer, you want to justify why your offer is as low as he's not expecting that. Perhaps you also want to know the furniture, the white goods you've seen in the property, is that going to stay, or are they taking it off and you're going to have nothing in there? It's going to give you at least awareness that, hey, when you buy the property, you're going to be spending maybe X amount. Maybe that adds up to 7,000, 8,000 pounds to put in brand new furniture, white goods, whatever it is. If you're doing service apartments, if you're just doing a HMO, then perhaps 1,000 to 2,000 pounds. Just a bit of awareness data that you'll collect as the questions that you ask the seller or the agent. Very crucial, this one. If the property is tenanted, I would ask for the tenancy agreement. I would also try to see the bank statements, request for them to see if the tenant has been paying on time. Because if the tenant has not been paying on time, then guess what? When you move in, when you become the new buyer, the tenant's not going to pay you on time either. So you're going to be in a pickle where you have to now evict the tenant, and now 12 months of no rent and court hearing date and all that back and forth. Is that something you anticipated for? Perhaps not. So just do this research. All you have to do is ask for their bank statements or proof of income or proof that rent has been paid. If they're uncomfortable to show it to you, maybe their solicitor can at least give indemnity to your solicitor, whatever there is, but you want to see it or get your solicitor to tell you, hey, yes, the rent is always being paid on time. You also want to know if is the tenant leaving after you stay. Are they on FRI leases? How long is left on the lease? If it's an AST, who exactly is the tenant? Where does he work? Who is he? How does he pay you? When does he pay? How much does he pay? All these different kinds of things that come with the tenancy. You want to know all of that because you're a smart landlord. You also want to request for the electric certificate, gas certificate, EPC certificate, just to make sure the property is in order, not that you're coming in and now you need to redo the electric certificate and then you find out, oh, all these wiring needs to be redone, nothing is right, or the EPC is perhaps valued as E, and now you have to bring it back to C as per 2025 legislation. So all these different things, better you be aware in advance. Quite importantly, the last one I would ask the seller is that, are you selling it as a chain? Are you only selling it so that you can buy or move into another property? Because what if that sale falls through, then this one falls through as well. Now, all these questions that I've shared with you, These are not questions that will determine whether you buy the property or not. All you're trying to do with all this information that you're collecting is gathering data. That's all. You're gathering data. You're trying to understand, is this a good property? Is this not a good property? You're trying to get your pitch together. What kind of discounts can I get on this property? Is this guy desperate or is he not desperate? Is he willing to wait in the market for another 12 months or does he want out right away? Has he already been waiting for 12 months and is he like at the edge now that he's going to accept any price just to be out of it or not? All these things. The type of tenant that's in the property, is he going to stay once you buy the property? Is he going to pay you on time? Will he look after your property once the keys that you've handed over to him already? Are you going to be in a pickle after once you bought it with the tenant, or you're not going to be? All these different things, all these questions are going to help you is get data, get you awareness, because I would rather know all the information in advance than find out surprises later on. Now again, don't get me wrong, you can never know all the information in advance, but at least try to do all the research that you possibly can to get yourself a good deal and to be a professional in the industry. So I hope you've enjoyed the content. If there are any questions that you do ask and I've not mentioned in this, please do let me know. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Subscribe and I will see you in the next video.